And thank you very much, and a very good Friday evening, everybody, in high school sports from the wrestling mats coming your way as the Pierre Governors are back at it in the ESD conference on, the first of 2 days of wrestling that they will have. They've got a duel here in Huron as they'll take on the Huron Tigers on their way to the Brookings Invitational starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and another tournament coming up for the Governors. Pierre coming off of a 3-0 weekend at the East-West duels last weekend. 3 big wins over Rapid City Central, Sturgis, and especially number 1 ranked Rapid City Stevens. In fact, Rapid City Central was second ranked, but they were a little short-manned, so to speak, last week with some open weight classes, but still was a great win, and we'll talk with Coach Sean Lewis about that day of wrestling that heads maybe into the rest of the season. Hopefully some momentum gained by the Governors off of the good things that they saw at Riggs High Gym last Saturday. 3-0 are the Govs in the ESD, 6-0 in duels overall on the season. Tonight, the Huron Tigers, who have had their struggles this season because of some open weight classes and things like that, they still are faring pretty well, especially in specific weight classes, and several of them throughout their lineup faring well in tournaments this season. So still going to be some quality wrestling, even though Huron will be missing a few weight classes this evening as well. So pull up a chair. We have the live stream up and running, and you can watch and see and also hear our coverage of Governor Wrestling on KGFX.
Where can you get a Great Western photo op? At the Casey Tibbs Rodeo Center Museum. Upgrade your museum admission by a few bucks and dress up in Wild West or Prairie costumes. Take your own photos in front of the new 17-foot Western mural of Fort Pierre. There are costumes for all ages and most sizes. Or the staff can take your photo and email it to you. For an additional fee, a hard copy photo and frame can be mailed to you. All at the Casey Tibbs Rodeo Center Museum in Fort Pierre.
While sitting on the edge of my daughter's bed this morning, I heard her say these words, "Becoming people of God for all people of God." I asked her where she got that. "It's on your shirt, silly." "Do you know what that means, Elise?" "It means we invite people and love all people," she said. Here at Lutheran Memorial Church, we would like to extend an invitation to all of you. Share with us about your life's joys or concerns. Don't hesitate to let us know how we can help. We truly are becoming people of God for all people of God.
Welcome to the Radio Employment Connection, where we find people to work for you.
Ringneck Energy is hosting a job fair with on-site interviews Tuesday the 29th from 8:30 until 5 at the Department of Labor in Pierre. Many positions available. See listing at www.icminc.com.
Winfield United, an agricultural inputs company, is searching for 1 full-time and 2 seasonal part-time CDL drivers with hazmat and tanker endorsements. Call 224-6550 or apply at landolakeinc.com/careers.
Lightholtz McNeely Lightholtz Cooling and Heating is looking to hire a full-time HVAC service tech with a good driving record, positive attitude, and desire to do the job well. Stop into 1515 East Sioux Avenue, Pierre, or email lightholt@mncom.com. Teason Law Office is hiring a full-time administrative specialist. Position supports a professional staff and requires a variety of proficiencies, as well as being highly motivated with attention to detail and excellent communication.
Jeff, are you able to hear me?
Experience preferred, but willing to train the right person.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know why you couldn't hear it before.
To advertise on the Employment Connection,
because I'm hearing everything just fine.
SalesRadioGroup.com.
Okay, there's a 30-second Boyd Kenzemius spot that just played. You want to go after him?
Family insurance company. So it's good that American Family Insurance
sure.
Just what I need, because our dream is to become a century farm, a farm that's been in our family 100 years, and pass this life on to the next generation. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream.
All right, 10 seconds until intro.
Boyd Kenzemius Agency Inc. in Pierre and Phillip.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin 53783.
1060 KGFX is proud to bring you coverage of area high school sports. To hear this broadcast online, log on to drgnews.com. Now, with the pregame, here's Brian Oakland.
Well, we'll try this again, and once again, good Friday evening, everybody. A night of high school wrestling coming your way. The Pierre Governors in Huron to take on the Tigers as the Governors coming off of a nice weekend, 3-0 at the East-West Duels at Riggs High Gym last Saturday. They'll try to get that momentum continued into this weekend as they stop in Huron to take on the Tigers on their way to Brookings tomorrow for the Brookings Invitational Wrestling Tournament. Brian Oakland with play-by-play and Jeff Duncan back in studio. Coverage of the Governor Wrestlers on your official home of the Govs and Lady Govs, KGFX, and the stations of the Dakota Radio Group, being made possible by your Pierre Sports marketing sponsors. They include Bank West, also Gateway Ford, Lincoln Toyota, Overhead Door, the Dairy Queen, Avera Medical Group, and Beck Motors and Pierre, and the Brittany Shufflebine Agency, LLC. Coverage of the Governor Grapplers tonight also sponsored by Pierre Care and Rehabilitation, TMA, Gators Pizza, Pasta, and Subs, Owyhee Federal Credit Union, and Edgewood Senior Living, and by Arby's Restaurant, the Ramkota Hotel and Conference Center, Montana Dakota Utilities, May Adam, First Dakota National Bank, Lynn's Dakota Mart, Fisher Rounds and Associates, and the Pitts Corporation in Pierre. And our coverage of Governor Sports brought to you within the broadcast by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, the Boyd Consemius Agency, Teton River Traders Gun Shop, the South Dakota Attorney General's Office, by Lynn's Dakota Mart, CHS Midwest Cooperatives, Bauman Lumber, and Wegner Auto in Pierre. Keep up to date with the scores of tonight's duel. We'll give you the Wegner Auto scoreboard throughout the evening from time to time, sponsored by Wegner Auto Company in Pierre, the one place to go. Well, the Governors again coming in off of a nice weekend, and we'll talk to Coach Sean Lewis about how things fared, and they beat the top two teams in the state that are ranked in Rapid City Stevens and Central, even though Central was a little bit undermanned with some open weight classes. That's kind of what they'll see from Huron tonight, 3 open weight classes from the Tigers, so Governors will have the advantage, but there's still going to be some quality wrestling from the home team Tigers coming up here this evening, and even though they haven't fared so well in duels, they have fared pretty well in many of the tournaments that they've been wrestling in over the course of the season. Our conversation with Coach Sean Lewis is coming up in the pregame, which will begin in 2 minutes, and we'll start with the coach right after this as you listen to Pierre Governor Wrestling, again on your official home of the Govs and Lady Govs, KGFX, on 1060 AM, 107.1 FM. We're online at drgnews.com, and we do have the live stream up and running from the Huron Middle School. Go to youtube.com and subscribe to the KGFX 1060 channel. You'll be able to see as well as hear our broadcast of Governor Wrestling tonight on KGFX.
At American Family Insurance, we help protect what you've achieved so you can fearlessly go after your dreams. For auto, home, business, and life, contact us today. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance, Life Mutual, Standard of Ohio, Wisconsin Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
Call the Brittany Shufflebine Agency, LLC, with offices in Pierre, Oneida, and Gettysburg.
Why choose Edgewood Senior Living?
We chose Edgewood. It's a beautiful facility. My parents are taken care of very well. The staff is amazing. Their apartments are clean for them. They have their laundry done. They are a liaison between the doctor's office and their physicians. Who wouldn't choose Edgewood?
Call 494-3400 for a tour and to learn more. Edgewood Senior Living. This is home.
Hi, I am Slade Weller, and I am Pitts Corporation's local branch manager. Pitts Corporation is a commercial architecture, construction management, and construction company serving South Dakota for over 65 years. I am a local peer and have over 20 years of construction experience. With architects, estimators, project managers, superintendents, and a quality group of trade professionals on staff, Pitts Corporation is ideally set up to assist you in needs. Please call 223-2440 or stop by our office on Airport Road to set up your initial free consultation.
If your checking account earns little or no interest and charges you ATM fees galore, isn't it time for a new checking account? At Bank West, E-Plus checking customers earn a great interest rate and never pay ATM fees. Can your current checking account do that? Switching to E-Plus is easy. Visit us online at bankwest-sd.bank or work with a friendly staff at one of our convenient locations. Bank West. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Back in Huron for Governor Wrestling, we are at the middle school, which is down Lincoln Avenue on the west side of Huron, because the Huron Arena is in use by the Dakota Oyate basketball tournament that is going on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. A big event in Huron, and good luck to all of our area teams that are involved in that. Lower Brule, and I'm not sure if Crow Creek, I think they usually come to that tournament also, playing girls and boys basketball in that event. So again, best of luck to the area teams that are in that tournament. Maybe Teoshpadopa, I'm not sure who all is there, but those are some of the teams that I know have played in that tournament before. So we are in the middle school, and we'll be talking with Coach Sean Lewis coming up when we talk about keys to success. Before we do that, I want to remind you on your way to or from the games or anytime, though, the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety says avoid a kiss with death and make sure you plan a designated driver all the time, and buckle up every trip, every time, too, from the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety. Coach Sean Lewis with Keys to Success, sponsored by the Boyd Consemius Agency in Pierre. Here's what the coach had to say coming in to their duel with the Tigers tonight. All right, here we go. Keys to Success with Sean Lewis, the Governor, head coach, and dual night in Huron as we start another weekend, Coach. You got, I tell you what, as good of a weekend in that dual event that you hosted last week in the East-West as you could have hoped for. 3-0, and including the big one against Rapid City Stevens to close things out, which did go right down to the end. But I'm sure, you know, even though maybe not everything went the way you were hoping, so you've got to be real pleased with the way last Saturday went.
You know, ultimately coming away with 3 wins and, you know, an East-West dual tournament, you know, you got to be happy. You know, there are situations, positions, individuals that I felt that we definitely could have wrestled better. You know, our energy was great for the Central duel. We go against Sturgis and we kind of had a little bit of, you know, I think an energy letdown, and so they snuck in the duel with us and we found ourselves in a battle. We probably lost, you know, 2-3 matches that I didn't feel that we should have, and ultimately that thing came down to the end and our big guys had to pick us up and pull that out, and so I mean they did a good job with that. And then, you know, you move into the Stevens duel, and you know, anytime you can get a dual win against the #1 ranked team in the state and they're going to continue to be ranked #1, you know, you definitely got to be pleased. There were a lot of individual things I think that, you know, we could have done if things would have went right. We could have pulled that dual score, you know, and widened it open, but you know, unfortunately they won some of the matches that, you know, they needed to as well to keep things tight, and we won a couple, you know, the other way, and so eventually that thing turned out nice and tight, and you know, love that atmosphere.
If you want to reach your ultimate goals at the end of this season, obviously you've got to win some key matches. Even later on in the season against Rapid City Stevens wrestlers, especially, you know, Central and Sturgis as well. What did you learn about, what you may see later on in the season off of the matches that you had that day?
You know, I think we learned that on any given day that anybody can be beaten. I think that's something that I've reiterated to these guys, and you know, eventually you got to go out and beat people you're not supposed to, and hopefully, you know, last weekend was a little bit of a springboard to believe in that and, you know, move forward through the rest of the year. And, you know, we are good, and we can beat people that we're not necessarily supposed to, and it's time that we start putting people on notice.
You know, in Watertown and Brandon Valley were there. We were supposed to get them, you know, duels with them on Friday night, but that got weathered out, and you still have some key ESD duels against them later on in the season. What did you see from them that you might be able to use in the coming weeks?
You know, I knew that Watertown, they're solid all the way through. You know, they're definitely a team that we have to respect, and we've got to go after, and we've got to be at full strength to be able to beat. You know, same can be said for them. They're going to have to be at full strength. They're going to have to be healthy, and you know, to be able to beat us too. But I think you saw that, you know, all teams in ESD are fairly even, and anybody's beatable, and you definitely got to be on your A game each and every single night when you've got a duel. You know, it's 14 wrestlers. It's not 1 or 2. It's every single one of them.
All right, so we're looking forward to those matches later on, but you're in Huron tonight against a Tiger team that has obviously for a bunch of years been, you know, pretty good, you know, loaded with a lot of really good wrestlers, even though they seem to be kind of fading back in the pack, but this this is still, like you say, any given night, and this could be their night if you're not careful.
They're well coached, and so anytime you come into Huron, you know that you're going to get a dogfight, and it doesn't matter if their kid's rated number 1 or their kid's not rated. They always find a way, this coaching staff, to get their kids ready to go. They'll fight for a full 6 minutes, and we definitely got to be on our A game.
They will have a few open weight classes, so that gives you a little bit of an advantage overall in the duel, but what are the key weights that you're looking at tonight that you need to come out on top if possible?
We got some pretty good matchups. I look at 138, 145, and 152 being really key matchups. Jack Van Camp versus Chipper Schillingstead, they're 1-1 so far in the year, and I think it'd be a really good match. Then you get Huber and Hinkle at 45, and I think their skill sets kind of are a little bit contradictory, so it'll be interesting to see how those two styles match up. And at 52, Tyson leans down to 252 now. He's wrestled 60 and 70 earlier in the year. And then you got Lee Snyder, and ultimately, with these guys, it's the first time we've seen him, and it'll be the last time we see him until the region tournament. So we've got a lot of key matchups, the rest of the way, just making sure that we secure seeding criteria come the region tournament.
Yeah, and it's these middle guys that I think in some of the duels that you've wrestled this year, even though, and you saw it against Stevens too, you struggled in the lower weight classes, but it was those middle guys who started putting some wins together, and of course you relied on the big guys to finish things off. So you're talking about key matches right here in the middle tonight too.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we got those in most every duel. We've got a bunch of guys in the middle who we feel can, duel here and there, can compete with anybody and everybody, and in the ESD there, the rest of the ESD is very solid right in there as well, so we get some awesome matchups week in, week out.
All right, overall keys against the Tigers tonight.
We got to get out and just get after people. We can't sit and wait. We can't let these guys hang in matches if they're not supposed to be. We've got to have that killer instinct, and ultimately, we got to be sharp on our feet and look for that first takedown. I didn't really feel at East-West duels we were very sharp on our feet. We were kind of waiting and let things come to us a little bit and wrestling a little bit more defensively than I would like. So we're to come out and get after them, like I said, work on our setups and get some nice, crisp, clean shots.
I'm sure it doesn't matter. You've got a wrestling mat on a basketball floor. That's what you get wherever you are. But here in this different kind of environment in the Huron Middle School gym, does the surrounding bother you at all?
No, I don't think so. We wrestle in a multitude of different gyms throughout the year. You get giant gyms like Yankton that you can still hear a pin drop, or you get in some nice tight quarters here in the Huron Middle School gym, or you move even to a smaller gym at the Mitchell. And we've been there, so we can see all different kind of gyms, and really the only gym that we favor any more than anyone else is our own.
All right, Coach, looking forward to it tonight. We'll see you after the show and talk about tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
There he is, Sean Lewis, the head coach of the Pierre Governors, with comments and keys to success in this wrestling duel that are brought to you by the Boyd Conzemius Agency, American Family Insurance in Pierre. And we will take a 2-minute timeout, give you the starting lineups as our Governor pregame continues next on KGFX.
The new year is a time for a start to new beginnings. Why not start your new year off right by getting a low-interest auto loan from Oahe Federal Credit Union? Get a new or used vehicle with rates starting at 3.19% APR. Rates vary depending on year and term of vehicle that you would like to purchase. Stop in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre and see what Julia or Jameson can do for you.
People helping people. Oahe Federal Credit Union.
Being a small farmer has never been tougher. Dan Wegmuller is a farmer and an American Family Insurance customer. So it's good that American Family Insurance covers just what I need, because our dream is to become a century farm, a farm that's been in our family 100 years, and pass this life on to the next generation. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly.
Contact the Boyd Conzemius Agency, Inc. in Pierre and Phillip.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
This Governor Sports Moment is being brought to you by the independent insurance team at Fisher Rounds and Associates of Pierre. Zach Hansen and Lane Severin were members of 4 Pierre Governor basketball teams, and they played in more varsity games than any other Governor player in history. They capped off their careers by leading Pierre to its 4th state basketball championship in 2013 and left Pierre as the leading and second leading scorers and rebounders in school history. Zach Hansen and Lane Severin, two of Pierre's finest. This Governor Sports Moment has been brought to you by Fisher Rounds and Associates of Pierre.
Have you seen all the changes at Lynn's Dakota Mart in Pierre? Yeah, they've done a lot. The entire store is remodeled. Every department from grocery to sporting goods is fresh and updated and stocked with the best quality at great value. They even have a Caribou coffee station. This week, they're featuring Bird's Eye assorted steamed fresh vegetables, 10 to 10.8 ounces, only 99 cents each. Lynn's Dakota Mart, your hometown neighborhood market.
Back in Huron to continue our pregame show. Governors and Tigers tonight, and it's wrestling here in Huron, but in Pierre at Riggs High Gym, it is boys basketball on River 92.7. The Governors are hosting the Huron Tigers, a game that was scheduled for last night, but Huron had to call off school, so they postponed that game, and they're playing it tonight. That's on River 92.7. We'll keep you as updated as we can on the progress of the Governors and Tigers in Pierre. And, of course, we thank you for being here with us as we give you Governor Wrestling. Time now for the starting lineups in tonight's wrestling duel. Here in the ESD, Coach Lewis mentioned it's a key duel because of region seedings for some folks, and so we'll see what kind of matches we can get going here as the Governors will go this way as our starting lineups come to us courtesy of Teton River Traders Gun Shop of Fort Pierre. For the Governors, usually at 106 pounds, it's Blake Judson, the freshman, but Blake fell ill today and will not wrestle tonight. But Nate Williams, the freshman, is in the lineup. However, Huron is open at 106 pounds, so the Governors are going to start with a forfeit win at the first weight class. Kaylor Heinman is wrestling now at 113 with an elbow injury suffered by Deegan Husko, who's been wrestling well. The 8th grader won't wrestle tonight, so sophomore Kaylor Heinman at 4-8 on the season gets the go. At 120, Hayden Schaefer of the Governors also hit with the flu bug, and he will not wrestle. Daniel Tafoya, who's been wrestling at 126 all year, made weight at 120 today, so he will wrestle the sophomore Tafoya, 8-5 on the season at 120 for the Governors. At 126 pounds is the junior Jace Bench Brescher, 12-5 on the year at 132. Tyson Johnson at 17-5. The sophomore in the lineup for the Govs. Big one at 138, Jack Van Camp, the junior, 18-4 on the year. For the Governors at 145 is Cade Hinkle, the junior, 17-5 on the year. At 152, it'll be 12-10, Lee Snyder, the senior for the Governors. At 160, Jarrett Clark, the junior, still finding his niche, and 4-12 on the season. McGuire Raske ready to go at 170. The sophomore is 17-6 on the year. At 182 pounds, it's Garrett Leisman, the senior, who is 12-5 on the season. Gage Gehring at 195. The junior is 17-6 for the Governors. 220 goes with James Lease, 13-8 on the year. Lease, the senior, and the sophomore Preston Taylor lining up in the 285-pound weight class. He is 16-5 on the season and a sophomore. The Governors head coach by Sean Lewis, assisted by Travis Heasley, Chad Uhrig, Ryan Noyes, Matt Thorsten, and Justin Tostenson. Those are the Governor starters from Teton River Traders Gun Shop in Fort Pierre. We'll hear from them in a bit. Let's give you the Huron starters real quick. At 106, again, they are open tonight. At 113, Will Radke is a 4-8 freshman who will go against Kaylor Heinman. At 120, Cole Oshner, an 8th grader, 11-13 on the year, goes against Daniel Tafoya. The Tigers rather had Jaleel Jenkins Harris lined up at 126, but he, as we understand, took ill in school today and will not wrestle tonight, so the Tigers will be open at 126. Also at 132, forfeit wins coming for Jace Bench Brescher and Tyson Johnson for the Governors tonight. At 138 to wrestle Jack Van Camp, it'll be Chipper Schillingstad, one of the marquee matches of the night. Chipper 20-4 on the season. He is a senior. Danon Huber follows him at 145 at 13-9 on the year to go against Cade Hinkle. At 152, a good wrestler, Tyson Lean, although 9-7 on the season in his natural weight class now, as he is a sophomore. Tajay Jenkins Harris, a good one, although just 2-2 on the year, goes at 160 for the Tigers. Matthew Kotz is a senior at 170, 12-8 on the year. Tough match for McGuire Raske for the Govs. Gabriel Rieger will be a tough match for Garrett Leisman as well. Rieger's a senior at 17-7. Devin Balster, Parker Brewer, Sebastian Cardona are the last three, rounding out Coach Dan McCarty's lineup as we get ready for the national anthem here. We're back in 2 minutes on KGFX.
The key to a successful hunt. begins at Teton River Traders Gun Shop in Fort Pierre. They carry a large variety of reloading equipment, cleaning supplies, and firearms accessories. They also sell and deliver Liberty gun safes. See Teton River Traders Gun Shop for all your gunsmithing needs, including custom-built firearms. Stop in today. Teton River Traders Gun Shop, located west of Highway 1434 in Fort Pierre.
Top of the morning, TMA. This is John. May I help you?
At TMA, top-notch service begins the moment you call for an appointment. John at TMA believes in customer service and quality work. When you need tires repaired or replaced, TMA is the place to go. Just remember, if it's round, rubber, and rolls, it's at TMA. You can count on TMA for all of your automotive needs, from tires to mufflers to all automotive repairs. Call TMA at 224-6167, and your service begins with...
Top of the morning, TMA. This is John. May I help you?
Every day, you share personal information about yourself with others. You may write a check, charge fuel, rent a car, mail your tax returns, schedule a doctor's appointment, or post something on social media. Each transaction may share some sort of personal information, such as bank and credit card account numbers, social security number, name, address, or phone number. There are unscrupulous individuals, identity thieves, targeting these routine transactions, trying to gain your information to commit fraud. If you think somebody has stolen your identity, contact Consumer Protection at 1-800-300-1986.
Welcome to Lynn's Dakota Mart. Check out their selection in the meat, produce, and deli department, as well as the rest of the store. The freshest and best quality in the area. Don't see what you need? Just ask. Their friendly staff is more than happy to help in any way possible. For any gathering, large or small, Lynn's Dakota Mart is there for you. Special orders and requests, too. Smart grocery shopping takes a little TLC. Lynn's Dakota Mart. Thrifty, local, and convenient.
Back to the Huron Middle School as we get closer to wrestling tonight. Pierre Governors and Huron Tigers and ESD in a Region 3 matchup as well. Quickly, the last three for Huron that we sped through and when we were doing starting lineups. Devin Balster, a senior, 7-7 for Huron at 195, matches up against Gage Gehring tonight. Parker Brewer for the Tigers is 15-8 on the year, the senior at 220 against James Lees tonight. And at 285 for Huron, the sophomore is Sebastian Cardona, who is 9-7 on the year. Dan McCarty, the veteran head coach in his 22nd year running the Huron wrestling program, but this is his final year as head coach. He has announced his retirement effective at the end of this season. So the veteran certainly has been a pillar of wrestling excellence here in the last 22 years here in Huron. Tom Basler, Jake Thielbard, Drew Strand, and Antonio Jenkins-Harris are assistant coaches for the Huron Tigers. Starting lineups from Teton River Traders Gun Shop in Fort Pierre. The other starting lineup is the naming of tonight's game officials. The mat officials are our law on the mat, and they're sponsored by the Attorney General's office. Let's hear from them, and we'll tell you who's officiating our matches tonight in our Governor Wrestling Duel.
Every day, you share personal information about yourself with others. You may write a check, charge fuel, rent a car, mail your tax returns, schedule a doctor's appointment, or post something on social media. Each transaction may share some sort of personal information, such as bank and credit card account numbers, social security number, name, address, or phone number. There are unscrupulous individuals, identity thieves, targeting these routine transactions, trying to gain your information to commit fraud. If you think somebody has stolen your identity, contact Consumer Protection at 1-800-300-1986.
South Dakota Attorney General's office giving us the law on the mat tonight, licensed by the South Dakota High School Activities Association to officiate high school wrestling. Our JV mat official was former Huron wrestling standout Matt Halter, and tonight's varsity mat official, one of the best in the business, the veteran Bud Postma from Madison. He was there last weekend officiating the East-West duels, as he is pretty much every year in Pierre, and he will be tonight's mat official. The law on the mat, sponsored by the South Dakota Attorney General's office. You're listening to Pierre Governor High School Wrestling against Huron tonight on 1060 AM and 107.1 FM KGFX. Pierre, a member of the Dakota Radio Group, your official home of the Govs and Lady Govs. And DRGnews.com, the live stream also up and running through YouTube and the KGFX 1060 channel. First match of the night and the opening handshake sponsored by Lynn's Dakota Mart Stores of Pierre in Fort Pierre. We heard from them just a little bit ago. Nate Williams, the freshman for the Governor, gets a victory by forfeit as Huron is open at 106 pounds. So our first match of 11 tonight is underway, and that brings Kaylor Heineman, the sophomore for the Governors, at 4-8 on the season. He goes against Will Radke, the freshman, who has an equal 4-8 mark. Both wrestlers to the mat already. Heineman, I think, gets the quickest, earliest shot here, and he's trying to get spun around and break free of the limited hold that Will Radke has. There it is. Kaylor Heineman scores the first points of the match here at 113 pounds. Up here in the corner, if you are able to see, as well as hear our matches from the live stream, we're in the corner of the middle school gym. It will be fairly quiet much of the time, so we'll not be too excited from time to time. A little bit of an escape here for Radke. He's got his first point. It's 2-1 at 113 pounds. Heineman started the season in the varsity spot for the Governors at 113, looking for a single leg here, but not much happening as of yet. And instead, boy, he almost got taken down himself. And here's a shot for Will Radke, but near the edge. No control gained as of yet. And Heineman trying to get back inbounds to try to do some damage here. Again, we're just mentioning he started the season at varsity, but Deegan Huska, the 8th grader, has been wrestling very well also. Huska 11-5 on the season, but sustained an elbow injury in the last couple of weeks. Heineman wrestled over the weekend. Did go 0-3 here. He tries to get a throw, and a nice job done. Takedown right into putting Radke on his back. And 5 seconds have already been counted. 12 seconds to wrestle here. First period, 4-1 the score now. With back points pending for Kaylor Heineman. That was quite a move here to get Radke on his back. Radke starting to spin over as the first period comes to an end. And the 3 back points will now be awarded. So we'll go to the second period. On a nice aggressive move here, which is what Coach Sean Lewis wanted when we were talking about keys to success. We want to be the aggressor. Of course, he pretty much says that all the time when we cover Governor Wrestling, but that was an aggressive move, as we mentioned, and 7-1 the score. As Heineman starts in the down position here, beginning period number 2, and he's already worked himself into a stand-up escape. So another point for Kaylor Heineman. Looking to get back in the win column here. After being defeated 3 times over the weekend, of course, Pierre wrestled against Rapid City Central. Beat them 47-18 on Saturday. Ooh. Heineman tried the same move, but Radke fought that one off. He falls right on top of Kaylor Heineman, and it is the Huron wrestler who gets the takedown here. Back within 5 points, it'll be 8-3. Heineman is not in danger yet of getting on his back, but sometimes, even if it's just the second time you attempt it, you go to the well one too many times, and Radke able to fight it off. But Heineman will break out of it, and it's an escape for the Governor wrestler halfway through the second period. He has a 9-3 lead. Pierre beat Central, we mentioned 47-18. They beat Sturgis 35-28, and then Rapid City Stevens in a duel that went all the way down to the final match with Preston Taylor getting a victory by fall at 285 to give the Governors a 3-point dual win over the team that is the top-ranked tournament team in the state, Rapid City Stevens. 30 seconds to wrestle. Wrestlers are both on their feet, still neutral position here. 9-3, Kaylor Heineman leading Will Radke of Huron. Heineman's got a couple of shots in this match, but he's playing this one a little more patiently now here in the later second period. And as I say that, now he's got the legs. They're still locked up. Heineman doesn't have control yet. He's got 6 seconds to try to get a couple of points here scored. 3, 2, and 1, and they stay neutral all the way through the rest of the second period. So we'll go to the third. And in this duel, Kaylor Heineman leads Will Radke. Pierre over Huron 9-3, and again the Governors get a forfeit at 106. Huron will be open at 06, also at 126. and 132 tonight. We will have 11 matches. This is the first of 11 that are being wrestled here in the Huron Middle School gym. Good place for sports. We've been here for, actually haven't broadcasted from here before, but we've seen some basketball and volleyball preliminary matches when the Huron when the Huron Arena has been in use before, as it is the case tonight with the Dakota Oyate basketball tournament going on. Third period underway. Heineman is in the up position. He's in control. He has a 9-3 lead, but he sure would like to get some bonus points at the very least scored for the Governor dual total here. Trying to cross the face here, trying to get the leverage to get Will Radke rolled over, but Radke's fighting off every advance for now. But I'll tell you what, Heineman got a little tired of trying that, so he lets up Radke and then goes right back at him, gets a takedown. So an escape for Radke, takedown for Heineman, who has a 7-point lead now, 11-4. And of course, if he should get that to 8+, then we'd be talking about major decisions. 40 seconds to wrestle, third period, 11-4. The Pierre wrestler leading Huron here in the 113-pound weight class. And here comes Radke, and Heineman throws him again, gets him down, takedown, 13-4, and back points being counted. And Radke in some trouble now. Kaylor Heineman gets the pin here with 19 seconds left in the third period. So the Governors will take a 12-0 lead after two weight classes. We'll take a 30-second break, and we are back for 120 next. This is Governor Wrestling.
Experience the difference with Pierre Care and Rehabilitation Center in Pierre. Pierre Care and Rehabilitation Center is proud of their 5-star overall rating according to Medicare.org, the official regulatory body for nursing homes. Along with their 5-star care center, they provide short-term targeted rehabilitation services and skilled nursing care after illness or surgery. Our goal is to restore strength and confidence to get you to return to living the life you desire. Call 224-8628. Pierre Care and Rehabilitation Center, your pathway to independence.
Back in Huron underway at 120 pounds, and it is Daniel Tafoya, the sophomore for the Governors, wrestling in place of freshman Hayden Schaefer, who is ill today. Tafoya, mostly a JV wrestler, but a very good guy to have in the wrestling room for people like Hayden Schaefer and Jace Bench Brescher, the 126-pound varsity wrestler. Tafoya has placed second at the varsity level in a couple of tournaments. So he's got himself a takedown here 40 seconds into his match tonight. His opponent is the 8th grader Cole Oshner. Oshner 11-13 on the year for Huron. Tafoya 8-5 so far for the Governors. But Tafoya, as we mentioned, has provided some good excitement. You go back to the Lyman Invitational a couple of weeks ago, and Tafoya made the championship, but he was wrestling unattached, and he had to go up against his own teammate, Jace Bench Brescher, at 126 pounds. To try to get a tournament championship, and Jace won that match, but still a pretty good 1-2 punch here at what was the 126-pound weight class, but now Tafoya was able to weigh in at just under 120 pounds. He's got a cradle worked in here. Oshner's on his back, and seconds being counted away from our mat official, Bud Postma, so 3 back points will be pending here, and what is already a 2-0 start for Daniel Tafoya. 25 seconds to wrestle first period, and there's the back points. Looks like only 2 rather than 3 have been awarded, so just a 3 or a 4-second near fall rather than 5 a moment ago. 4-0 our score at 120 pounds. Huron wrestlers trying to, fans trying to urge Oshner out of this predicament through 3-2-1, and our first period will come to an end. Govs lead the duel 12-0, a forfeit and a win by fall in a time of 5 minutes and 41 seconds for Kaylor Heineman over Will Radke. And now Daniel Tafoya will go to the second period with a 4-0 lead as well. Governors in a tie for the first place ESD standings at 3-0 in their ESD duels. They have beaten Brookings, Mitchell, and Aberdeen Central so far this season. Huron tonight, and they still have matches to go against teams like Watertown and Brandon Valley, who were supposed to both be in Pierre last Friday. There's a takedown, this is a takedown here for the Huron wrestlers. So Cole Oshner gets his first 2 points of the night. To begin the scoring in the second period. Matches to come for the Govs, we mentioned, against Watertown and Brandon Valley. Still a match against Harrisburg, which will close out the regular season as well before we get to the region tournament, which is just a few weeks away. Postseason isn't that far off in the future. 1:05 left to go, second period. 4-2, updating the score. Tafoya leads, but as he tries to work out of the control, makes a nice move. He gets the arm over the head, and now he's got a reversal. So 2 points brought back, or taken back here by Daniel Tafoya. He's got a 6-2 lead, and now he'll try to work in the control of Cole Oshner, the Huron Tigers. Governors in black singlets tonight with the green cummerbunds, we'll call them, around the waist. Huron black and orange in color. They've got mostly black singlets with orange across the middle and white lettering. And the black mat with the orange circle and the big orange H in each corner, near and far from what we're seeing in the live stream. 30 seconds to go in the second as they reset from being out of bounds. 6-2, Tafoya leads for the Governors. And again, the Govs have the first two weight classes with 6 points in each. Leading 12-0. Tafoya suddenly into a cradle. Has Oshner on his back once again. Oshner trying to break free of the hold, and he has a bit. Bud Postma got 5 seconds counted off, though, and 3 back points awarded to close out the second period, and a 7-point lead for Daniel Tafoya of the Pierre Governors. He'll take a 9-2 lead to the third period. I believe it's Huron's choice here, and Oshner takes the shot. Did get a takedown early in the second period, looking for another one here, and Tafoya tried to fight it off, and it's Tafoya who spun Oshner around, and Daniel Tafoya able to turn something bad into something good. And he's got a major decision margin right now, 11-2 with just 30 seconds gone in a 2-minute third period. Got a good look. If you want to see Governor Wrestling, go to youtube.com. We've got a good look at the scoreboard right up above, a close look at the mat in the middle of the Huron Middle School gym floor. 11-2, Tafoya still working. Been working Cole Oshner into some tough situations by using the thigh. In fact, that's what he's working here now. I even saw 1 second get counted, now 1 and 2. But Oshner able to stretch up out of it, and no back points being awarded as of yet. Still 11-2. 40 seconds now to wrestle, third period. Pierre and Huron, we mentioned what Huron has. A little bit short-handed tonight. Missing 3 weight classes. They've had some injuries from some key wrestlers this season as well, judging by some of their records. And there are more seconds being counted, so Tafoya will get another 3 points here. He's not really in a situation where he's going to get Oshner on his back with what he's working with here, but he will win this one with 10 seconds to go. 3 back points puts his lead up to 14-2, and that is how this one is going to come to an end. So a major decision victory for Daniel Tafoya, and the Governors, after 3 weight classes, lead the duel 16-0 on the Wagner Auto scoreboard from Wagner Auto in Pierre, the one place to go. 2 open weight classes for Huron to come up. We've got a good one at 1:38 after this 30-second timeout. When we come back, you're listening to Pierre Governor Wrestling.
Push it, pull it, drag it to Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre. All month, we're giving you at least $2,000 for anything you trade in with an engine that's on 2, 3, or 4 wheels. We don't even care if it runs. Just trade it in at Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre today, and we'll give you $2,000. Push, pull, drag. All month at Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota, 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and go to gatewayflt.com. Nobody, and I mean nobody, beats a Gateway deal. Must purchase from dealer stocks on exclusions apply.
Welcome back to Huron as the Governors win the first 3 weight classes, which now stretches into the first 5. As we come back at 126, Jace Bench Brescher was wrestling unopposed, so he gets a forfeit victory, as does Tyson Johnson for the Pierre Governors at 132. And the updated Wagner Auto scoreboard has the Govs now leading 28-0 with victories in the first 5 matches, or the first 5 weight classes out of 14 tonight. Good match going here as the numbers 3 and 4 ranked wrestlers in the state. It's Chipper Schillingstad, number 3 for Huron, going against number 4 Jack Van Camp of the Pierre Governors. Sean Lewis told us these two are 1-1 against each other. Van Camp going after Schillingstad, but will run out of bounds. Schillingstad never got down. Chipper tried to make the move, and Jack Van Camp looked like he just threw him up in the air, ducked underneath him, and then all of a sudden had an opportunity to get after him and get that takedown, but it didn't work out. So we're back to neutral after going out of bounds. And even as this match begins here in this first minute, there was some excitement there a moment ago, but no scoring as of yet. We're still neutral, but everybody in the stands knows that these two wrestlers are very evenly matched against each other, and the crowd's just waiting, I think, for something good to happen here for either team. Down to 45 seconds left, locked up. Ear to ear in the first possession, the first period. Schillingstad will take his shot, but Van Camp falling backward and running out of bounds once again. These two walking back. Jack's got a few inches on Chipper stature-wise, and sometimes that lankiness can really help if in an otherwise even match. Both trying to size each other up once again. Schillingstad, boy, they both took a shot at the same time. Chipper got in underneath a little bit quicker, and as they come to the near end of the circle, from our vantage point, they'll be out of bounds, and Van Camp may have been saved by Schillingstad running out of real estate here. 15 seconds, they'll go back and reset again. Neutral in the middle. First period, no score yet. Governors leading 28-0 in the duel with the first 5 weight classes under their belts, with 4 6-pointers and a major decision. So Huron gets the choice to start period number 2. Schillingstad takes the down position, and we'll have a caution false start here as Van Camp went a little too quickly. Scoring update from boys basketball at Riggs High Gym in Pierre, and the Huron Tigers lead the Governors 19-15 after 1 quarter of play. Schillingstad here gets out quickly and a 1-point escape. So he takes the first lead of the match here in the first few seconds of the second period. Then Van Camp takes the shot. Tried the double leg, it didn't happen. Now Van Camp, there it is, the takedown. Good job by Jack Van Camp to stay with it. Never gave up on that double leg that he had initially. And he realizes it's not going to work out, so he'll let Schillingstad free again. So 2 escapes here in the period for Chipper. And a 2-point takedown for Jack Van Camp. We're knotted up, and we're back to neutral. Now a nice up and under. There's Van Camp with another takedown. Boy, good move for Jack Van Camp once again. Schillingstad stands up, and they're still, as they go out of bounds, not neutral. Yep, that's what I thought. So it is Van Camp still in control, leading 4-2. Schillingstad has been able to stand up out of the hold of Van Camp a couple of times here, but not this time back from the referee's position. But Schillingstad will make it happen again. Another 1-point escape, his 3rd of the match, but he trails still. Jack Van Camp leading 4-3. Down to 35 seconds to wrestle, second period. Really the marquee matchup of the night. There will be some good ones, but this one, I think, probably the top of the heap. Number 3 against number 4 in the state. 1-1 against each other. This could be the rubber match, like Coach Lewis said. They won't. The Govs won't see Huron again until the Region 3A tournament, which the Tigers will will host rather, on Saturday, February 16th. And we'll be covering that here on KGFX with reports throughout the day. Here's a double leg for Schillingstad. Van Camp is now down on his back. He gets the takedown, does Schillingstad at the end of the second period. No back points, not enough seconds awarded or counted off, but Schillingstad takes the lead by 1 as we go to the third period. It's 5-4. Schillingstad leading Van Camp at 138 pounds, and Van Camp is in the down position to start the third period. Went straight down to the mat initially, tried to spin up and around, and now he's got the escape, so we're knotted up again. Starting all over with 1:45 to go in the third period. 5-5. Jack Van Camp and Chipper Schillingstad. Van Camp, if I recall, did go 3-0 in the matches over the weekend against Sturgis and Central and Stevens at the East-West. Duels in Pierre. I think the Govs had 4, maybe 5 wrestlers who did win all 3 matches, but some of them with the help of some forfeits from Sturgis and Rapid City Central in particular. Here they lead Huron 28-0. 5 weight classes in. Here in the 6th class at 138. We've got a 5-5 tie. And now 1 minute to go. All of our open weight classes are done now. Huron with 3 open classes. So every weight class will be filled by both teams the rest of the way. Van Camp takes a shot. Schillingstad backs off, and they're still neutral, backing off of each other again. Up and under, Van Camp had the shot, but Schillingstad so far able to fight it off. Coming down on 30 seconds to wrestle. Nobody's got control in this hold yet. Schillingstad has Van Camp up high. Sean Lewis off his chair, trying to get some advice into Jack Van Camp. He up and unders and over and under Schillingstad. Now the crowd wants to, and they get it. They Pierre faithful with a takedown for Jack Van Camp from 15 seconds left. And now he's got to hold it out here. It's not a bad move to just let him free. 5 seconds to go. Van Camp will get the victory here in the Governors with a decision at 138. 7-5, the final score, and the Govs will take a 31-0 lead in the duel. The 145 we go. Coming up next, this is Pierre Governor Wrestling.
It's big game fun at the River Center Tavern at the Ramkota Hotel in Pierre. Join the party on Sunday, February 3rd. Drink specials and free hors d'oeuvres starting at halftime. Register for great prizes, including a 55-inch flat-screen TV. Must be present to win. You can enjoy the game and get home safely with free van rides from the Ramkota. Hors d'oeuvres, prizes, great group of friends, and Ramkota will do the cleanup for you. The big game, Sunday, February 3rd, begins at the River Center Tavern at the Ramkota Hotel in Pierre.
And back in Huron as the Governors get some excitement in the 138-pound weight class. Jack Van Camp with a late takedown to defeat Chipper Schillingstad, 7-5. A 3-point decision for the Govs total. And they lead Huron 31-0. And Cade Hinkle has a takedown and already a 5-second near fall for 3 more back points. A 5-point start for Cade Hinkle. The Governor Jr., 17-5 on the season here at 145 pounds. Dana Hubert, the senior for the Tigers, meanwhile, 13-9. Last note at the 138, Chipper Schillingstad with a loss falls to 20-5 on the season. 2 of those losses now to Jack Van Camp, who improves to 19-4. Stalemate ruled from Bud Postman, but he also issued a stalling warning for Cade Hinkle. They reset with 1 minute to go first period, and Dana Huber quickly off the knees and up on his feet for a 1-point escape. Some of these names you may recognize, not just from the wrestling ranks, but also from football excitement that these two teams had. Of course, these two teams met in the Dakota Dome in the 11AA Football Championship. The Governors won their second in a row with a 38-20 win over Huron, but really couldn't say enough about the defensive effort of the Tigers and their run through that postseason to get to the Dome. Really quite a run that really nobody expected. 25 seconds to go. They went out of bounds. They're back in the middle once again. A 5-1 lead for the junior, Cade Hinkle, for the Governors. Hinkle, I think a quiet 17-5 so far on the season. Really, in some regards, people haven't heard a lot from him. We had number 3 against number 4 in the last match. This one here pairs the number 7 against number 8 ranked wrestlers in the state at their weight class. First period coming to an end, and Cade Hinkle, the number 7 ranked wrestler in Class A, leading number 8, Danon Huber, 5-1. Mentioned Governor basketball is on River 92-7 tonight. Governor's trailing 19-15 against Huron. Going to the second period. As the second period begins here, Hinkle was quick to get up and a 1-point escape once again. So he has a 6-1 lead, back to that 5-point advantage that he got early in the first period. 31-0. Governor's leading the duel. You expect Huron to put up some good fights here, but again, with 3 open weight classes, it's been difficult, and that's been the case for the Tigers over the course of much of the season. Kind of like Brookings that we saw earlier this year, who had 6 open weight classes. Here's a single leg and an up and over for Cade Hinkle. Another takedown, ups his lead to 8-1. As we continue here at the 145-pound weight class. 1 minute to go. We're in the second period. Hinkle looking strong so far. Huber has had some success this season. Huron is coming into this tournament, by the way, off of a trip to Chamberlain over the past weekend, the Rumble on the River. Hosted by the Chamberlain Cubs, they finished in third place behind Mitchell, who won that tournament by 5 points over the host team, Chamberlain. I'll tell you what, out of Region 3A, Mitchell's getting better. Huron is still Huron, and they're going to give some people some fits in that region tournament. But look out for the Chamberlain Cubs. A team that's just getting better and better and deeper also. Some back points will be awarded for Cade Hinkle, but now Danon Huber slips up and out, and he's got a 1-point escape. But Hinkle is in command here, leading 10-2 as the final seconds will tick away in the second period. Talk about Chamberlain. You know about Nash Hutmaker, 2-time state champion. They had a second state champion at 113 last year in Max Donovan. And there's another young man, Colin Powell, who is at 132 this year, who at 126 last couple of years has been having to deal with a guy in the region by the name of Lincoln Turman. And this might be Powell's year with Mr. Turman out of the picture to get a region championship and maybe even a state title for that Chamberlain team. Actually did a duel with Chamberlain against Burt Gregory here a couple of weeks ago on KPLO-FM. And fun team to watch, fun team to follow. But the Governor is still providing a lot of fireworks here tonight. They lead Huron 31-0. We're in the third period. Cade Hinkle still in control of this 145-pound match. Will be halfway done with weight classes after this one comes to an end. So halftime, so to speak, coming up. Hinkle gets the throw, but can't keep Danon Huber inbounds, and we are still neutral as we head back to the middle. 10-2, still a major decision margin here for Cade Hinkle, leading Danon Huber with an even 1 minute to go in the match. Pierre has 3 wins by forfeit. They've got a win by fall from Kaylor Hindman so far at 113, and they've got a big decision win and what we expected to be a very tight match for Jack Van Camp over Chipper Schillingstad. And again, Van Camp in the most previous weight class got that late takedown to win at 7-5. 30 seconds to go. Still 10-2. Huber trying to take his shots. Hinkle fighting it off. Hinkle took one here, but Huber fends that off. Now just almost out of bounds, and Cade Hinkle gets a nice throw. Takedown will be awarded, and back points also. And Huber's trying to stay off the mat. Shoulders, that is. He'll be out of bounds with 8 seconds left, and 5 more go to Hinkle, who leads 15-2. He can get a technical fall if he can get 2 more points here, but 8 seconds, not going to be a lot of time to make that happen. As they reset, And we'll assume this one will stay this way. So on the Wagner Auto scoreboard, halfway through our duel tonight, boys, there are 3 seconds. There's the technical fall. Actually, 2 points awarded, so technically a technical fall for Cade Hinkle, who gets 5 to the Governor effort, and they lead the Tigers 36-0. We're at halfway through. We're up to 152. After this 30-second break, you're listening to Governor Wrestling.
Did you know that CHS Midwest Cooperative Autumn Rewards provides qualified customers 0% interest and you don't have to give up any cash or volume discounts? That's right. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, we're working with you to provide lasting success. Customers receive full cash and volume discounts on industry-leading genetics, seed treatments, plus 0%. Your CHS Midwest Cooperative agronomist is ready to help you build a plan for success in 2019. Why wait? Contact CHS Midwest Cooperative today to learn more.
Welcome back to Huron Middle School, side of Governor Wrestling with the Huron Tigers tonight. We're halfway through, and halftime means CHS Midwest Cooperative sponsors halftime of our KGFX broadcast in Pierre and 6 other cities throughout central South Dakota. Governors lead 36-0 on the Wagner Auto scoreboard. Lee Snyder wrestling at 152 pounds for the Govs. He is 12-10 on the season, going against Tyson Lean, a sophomore for Huron. Lean is just 9-7, but wrestling in higher weight classes has been a big reason for why his record isn't what we expect it to be. But the folks that are ranking individual wrestlers this year know Tyson Lean's ability. In fact, he is ranked 3rd in the state in Class A. Snyder had an opportunity early for a takedown, but Lean fought it off, turned it into a takedown of his own. So he leads 2-0. Almost had an opportunity to get some back points, but Snyder looks very close to getting, oh my, it looked like a reversal might have been coming, but Tyson Lean gets Lee Snyder back on the mat, and we might have back points already having been awarded with a near fall. And there they are, 3 points for Tyson Lean, who takes a 5-0 lead with 20 seconds to wrestle here in the first period. 152 pounds with 7 classes down, 7 to go. And Lean got another second counted off, but not enough. First period will come to an end in a few seconds. A 5-0 Tyson Lean leading. Lean actually won his weight class in the Rumble on the River last weekend in Chamberlain. He went 3-0 in the weekend, or on the day, Saturday. And that being said, actually meant that he had a losing record going into that tournament. He was 6-7. He's now 9-7. But this young man, I think, is where he belongs now at 152 pounds, and he's going to be tough to deal with for a lot of Region 3 wrestlers. Snyder in the down position will break free, so the escape, his first point of the match here to start the second period. Lee Snyder trails 5-1. Just a reach and a grab of the right leg here, but nothing working for Lean. He comes up high once again, and Snyder and Lean locked up as they work the way to the right side of our vantage point on the mat. Over near the Governor bench side of the middle school gym here in Huron. Neither one making anything happen just yet in this neutral setup. Although Snyder's had that left arm, now breaks free, and they'll try again here. 1:10 to go, second period. Govs lead the duel 36-0. Huron leads this match 5-1. Halfway through the second period. Lean tries to throw Snyder aside, couldn't get around, couldn't get anything happening, and they're still on their feet. Both wrestlers just doing that wrestler dance a little bit here. Snyder took a shot, Lean spun around, couldn't get his own takedown either. And even though Tyson Lean had the quick start, right now looking at a pretty even matchup here when both wrestlers are on their feet. 30 seconds to go in the second. Lean's out of bounds, but Snyder will back up to the middle, and Tyson Lean will have to come and approach once again. As they'll try to feel each other out once again. Lee Snyder, the senior for the Governors, been on the JV squad for the last three years or so. Been a good JV wrestler, kind of like what we were saying about Daniel Tafoya earlier tonight. Snyder getting his opportunity in this, his senior season, to help the Governor cause. Nothing happening at the end of the second period. 5-1. Tyson Lean of the Huron Tigers leading Lee Snyder of the Pierre Governors. Lean takes to the knees, and Snyder will have to try to stay in control. And again, Lee Snyder so far 12-10 on the year. Struggles against obviously some really good competition, but certainly knows what to do and how to get lesser competition under control right now, although Tyson Lean 5 points better. 6-1 as Lean breaks out of the hold of Snyder to begin the third period. First 30 seconds plus gone by in the final period. Huron looking to win their first match of the night in weight class number 8. Govs pitching the shutout so far, 36-0. Locked up once again, Snyder, if he can get some hold and some leverage here, and trying to get the throw. Boy, he got Lean rolled over, but off to the right side and out of bounds, out of the circle. And Snyder ran out of room here. Sometimes those throws can be risky. Kaylor Heineman made good work of the throws earlier tonight, but Lee Snyder just didn't have enough room here. Now a single leg attempt for Tyson Lean, but again, running out of room. Lean's toes are in bounds here, but he never did get control, according to our mat official, Bud Postma. Snyder wrestling hard, but still trailing 6-1. 41 seconds to wrestle as we reset in the middle. In the third period, another shot here for Tyson Lean. Snyder wasn't quick enough to fight that one off. Lean gets Snyder down low at first and now tried to throw him, and there's the takedown. 8-1 the score. Now Snyder just wants to minimize the damage and not get a major decision for Tyson Lean with 10 seconds to go. Just a decision margin so far, 8-1. Tiger basketball team with a big second quarter. We'll give you that score when we come back after a 30-second timeout. Huron wins the first match of the night. A decision, 8-1 win for Tyson Lean over Lee Snyder. It's 36-3 in the duel. And we're back for 160 next on KGFX.
Chances are you're overlooking a big energy thief in your home or commercial building. The Garage Doors. But Overhead Door Company of Pierre can help stop that energy waste with a full range of insulated, weather-tight garage doors. Their residential garage doors can give you insulated performance at an uninsulated price. And their Thermocore insulated steel doors give commercial buildings the energy efficiency they demand today. Find out more. Call Overhead Door Company of Pierre at 1-800-649-9905 and put a stop to the garage door energy thief.
Back in Huron, we welcome you back to more of Governor Wrestling. Huron with their first match victory of the night, an 8-1 decision for Tyson Lean over Lee Snyder. Governor's dominating the duel so far, 36-3. At 160, Jarrett Clark wrestling for the Pierre Governors, just 4-12 on the season. He is a junior, and he's going up against a tough one here. Tajay Jenkins Harris for the Huron Tigers. I believe Tajay's been a little bit injured so far. He's only got a 2-2 record, but this is a young man who went all the way to the state championship match a year ago at 152. Ended up losing that match, but he is back and ready to do more damage for the Tigers the rest of the way, and still just a junior. Very good wrestler. He's got a takedown here and working Clark into a cradle, and he's got him rolled over now. Clark in some trouble. 1 minute gone by in our 160-pound match. Clark able to squirt out of it, but back to face down. 3 back points awarded for Jenkins Harris. Mentioned the basketball game, which is on River 92.7. Huron leads Pierre now 45-29. Huron with a 26-14 advantage through that second period. And that game being heard on River 92.7 and seen on the Pierre School website. Here, of course, we have our visual effect of the YouTube live stream that we have, the KGFX 1060 channel of YouTube.com. Subscribe to that. You can see the rest of our wrestling match. Of course, all of our YouTube live streams or Pierre High School website live streams as well are available on demand. Jenkins-Harris tries to go to the other side on a spin move to get some back points, but unable to do so. And a 5-0 lead for the Huron Wrestlers. We'll go to the second period. Pierre's choice. Jarrett Clark will defer. Jenkins-Harris will take to the knees and be in the down position. And we've got a quick start here. Actually, both wrestlers will be given a reprieve as Bud Postma, he didn't blow the whistle as he kind of gave the signal. So he let him reset. Jenkins-Harris quickly out of the hold of Jarrett Clark. That's a 1-point escape. That advances his lead to 6. Now 6-0. Takes a quick shot. Jarrett Clark trying to fight that off here. Clark will be the big underdog in this match. So again, a stalemate is deemed. Again, this will be an opportunity for Jarrett Clark to just try to wrestle defensively a little bit, minimize damage. But Jenkins-Harris comes after him as they reset, and he's got another takedown. Quickly trying to work into that cradle, pulling the left leg of Jarrett Clark up as Jenkins-Harris tries to roll him over, and mission accomplished as far as the cradle's concerned. Seconds will be easily counted off. Now Jarrett Clark just trying to keep the shoulders off the mat here. Halfway through second period. Huron looking to win their second straight match after dropping the first 8 weight classes. Pierre leading the duel so far 36-3. There's the pin with 47 seconds left in the period, and Huron will tack on 6. Pierre on the Wagner Auto scoreboard, though, still leads 36-9. Wagner Auto of Pierre, the one place to go. Good one coming up at 170. Next, you're listening to Pierre Governor Wrestling.
Hey, DQ fans, looking for a meal deal that's as yummy to your wallet as it is to your tummy? The DQ Chicken Strip Basket is loaded with 4 strips of 100% all-white meat chicken tenderloin, crispy fries, Texas toast, and peppery country gravy for just $4.99. Sure, all those things are good on their own, but you put them together and you've got yourself a hunger-crushing basket full of DQ magic. Satisfy your craving for all this goodness with a DQ Chicken Strip Basket, just $4.99 only at your DQ.
170 pounds coming up and underway now. Welcome back to Huron. Brian Oakland, as always, glad to give you Pierre Governor Wrestling, your 4-time defending champion Pierre Governors at the state level, winning 6 of the last 7, finishing in the top 2 for 8 straight years. And last weekend for the Govs was one of those weekends that maybe gives them a little vote of confidence, as they obviously lost a lot to graduation this year. At 170, Raske wrestling against a tough opponent here, Matthew Kotz of Huron. Raske, as we were still at break, did get a takedown, but after they went out of bounds and reset, Kotz able to get up out of it in a 1-point escape. It's 2-1 in favor of the Pierre wrestler. Kotz had a nice spin move, but Raske put his left arm out and was able to fight off Matt Kotz, and now it is Raske with the takedown, his second of the match, with 1 minute gone by. 4-1. Raske. McGuire, the second-ranked wrestler in South Dakota Class A. He is the highest-ranked wrestler individually from any of the Governors on the season. Pierre had a couple of third ranks as well. The only guy that's been able to get past Raske from South Dakota seems to be Wyatt Junklaus, who did beat McGuire in that Rapid City Central duel last week in the East-West at Riggs High Gym. But McGuire looking good so far, leading 4-1. McGuire's been around now for 3 years at the varsity level. Hard to believe he's still just a sophomore. He is 17-6 on the season. Matthew Kotz, the senior for the Tigers, at 12-8. Raske's got the cradle here near the edge of the mat, but still plenty of room. Seconds were counted away. 3 back points as the first period comes to an end, awarded to McGuire Raske. So to the second period we will go. Huron defers the choice to McGuire, and he'll take the down position with a 7-1 lead over Matthew Kotz. Kotz from a wrestling family, had a couple of older brothers, one at least that I can remember, maybe another that fared well. Huron has had some good teams at the state tournament level and over the last bunch of years. One of those championship years that the Governors had, they had to fight off the Tigers. Here's a reversal for Raske. So not one but two as we start the second period, 1:35 and counting down, and Raske already out to an 8-point lead. 9-1 over Matthew Kotz. Some good years in the tenure for Dan McCarty, who has been coaching wrestling, the leader of this program for 22 years, but has announced that this will be his last. Raske trying to get something working here as he is in control, both scoring-wise and physically on the mat. 9-1, he has the lead halfway through period number 2. Pierre up 36-9. They won the first 8 weight classes, 3 by forfeit. Huron's won the last 2, 1 by decision and 1 by fall. Tajay Jenkins-Harris defeating Jarrett Clark. I never did get the time on that. I think it was maybe 3 minutes and 17 seconds. The win by fall in the second period. That's the second pin we've seen tonight. Pierre got a pin at 1:13 from Kaylor Heineman over Will Radke in a time of 5 minutes and 41 seconds. But it's still Raske here for Pierre and Kotz for Huron. And Raske slips. And now Kotz able to get a 2-point reversal. McGuire Raske just lost his hold. He was working on top of the backside of Matthew Kotz, but as he was trying to switch and work on the head and the neck area, he just completely lost a hold of his opponent, and Kotz took advantage. Now as we reset with 7 seconds to wrestle, Raske will pause to tie his shoe. And ready to go. He's in the down position. He has gotten one quick escape, looking for another one. He got stood up, but it'll be Kotz still in control, but we're going to have a penalty point awarded. Kotz is called for clasping as he got Raske back to the mat. So Raske gets a penalty point awarded to him here, and it'll be 10-3 as we go to the third period. So 7 seconds. Raske couldn't get anything done for himself, but 7 seconds was long enough for Matthew Kotz to make a minor mistake here. 7-point lead for Raske. He's in control. Kotz takes to the down position as we're underway in the third period. 10-3 our score in the match, 36-9 in the duel. Governors looking to stay perfect on their ESD schedule. And on their dual schedule overall. Remember, they didn't go to the Watertown dual tournament because of weather back in early December. They would have had 4 duels there, including one in the ESD against Watertown. But I think, again, getting that one weathered out. The Governors were very young back then, now a little more experienced. And when they meet Watertown, which is now going to be on Tuesday, February 5th, I think that's going to be a real good and more evenly matched duel. Raske trying to work in some more points here. Trying to get some bonus points for the team's benefit. Right now still leading by 7, and stalling is going to be called on Raske. That'll be his first warning. So Mr. Postma will ask them back to the middle once again. An even 1 minute gone and an even 1 minute to go. Third period here at 170 pounds. Number 2 ranked McGuire Raske leading Matthew Kotz 10-3. Been in control the whole time, but again, he needs to get Kotz on his back unless he lets him up and takes him down to try to get into a major decision margin of a lead. Raske working with the elbow right into the back of the neck and the head. Trying to inflict a little bit of discomfort for Matthew Kotz, but still hasn't been able to get a whole heck of a lot done here. 30 seconds to go now. And it's still 10-3. Half Nelson from the right side won't work. Bends the elbow on the right side still. 15 seconds to go. Right now just a decision for McGuire Raske. Kotz is wrestling defensively as the underdog. 5 seconds to go. And Raske not going to get anything more done. He will win 10-3, so the Governors will tack on 3. It breaks a 2-match losing streak, and Pierre leads the duel now 39-9. Let's pause for 30 seconds. Back with 182 and Garrett Leisman for the Governors. This is Governor Wrestling.
Your cancer care should be as unique as you are. At Avera Breast Center, our team of experts created a treatment plan that will work best for your type of cancer, using the latest screening, radiation, and surgical techniques. You also have access to holistic approaches to help with side effects, and a 24/7 call center for answers to your cancer questions when you need them. Learn more at avera.org/breast or by calling 855-697-2592.
182 pounds is where we are now at the Huron Middle School. Pierre Governors leading 39-9 in the duel as McGuire Raske with a 10-3 victory over Matthew Kotz at 170. Got a good one going here at 182 now. Garrett Leisman, the senior for the Governors, going against fellow senior Gabriel Rieger for the Huron Tigers. Rieger 17-7 on the season. Leisman 12-5 to this point. Couple of ranked wrestlers. Rieger ranked number 3 and Garrett Leisman number 7 in the Class A rankings this week. Put out on DakotaGrappler.com. A moment ago, Rieger got to the edge and Huron faithful wanted a 2 for a takedown, but they didn't get it. Now it's Leisman after a reset, and Garrett Leisman has the first takedown here, so he'll strike first. Leisman got a chance to come back and be the aggressor, which is what Coach Lewis wants out of his boys night in and night out, match after match. That's always one of his keys to success. Leisman trying to keep the arm of Rieger behind his back. Rieger tried to get out. Leisman still is in control, but now Rieger is up on his feet, and Leisman will let him loose with 30 seconds to go. 2-1 here in the first period. Garrett Leisman in front. Was talking about the Huron Tiger football team a little while ago. Tigers and Governors clashed into the Dakota Dome back in November. Of course, Pierre came out on top 38-20, but when I was referring to the Huron defense that had a great run through the postseason, in particular, I was thinking of this young man right here, Gabe Rieger, who was, in my opinion, the leader of that defense. Young man just played an outstanding championship football game, and here he is trying to help the Tiger cause on the wrestling mat in his senior season. First period comes to an end, and Garrett Leisman with a 2-1 lead. Leisman's on his knees to start the second period, looking to try to escape out of the hold of Gabe Rieger. On his feet, but tripped back down to the mat. Rieger's left arm wrapped around, trying to get the right shoulder, but it slips out, and Leisman will reverse. 2-point reversal for Garrett Leisman, who takes a 4-1 lead. Leisman looking good so far, very strong, and this is one of those guys. I love to talk about wrestlers who have thrown a lot of hay bales in their lifetime, and that's what Garrett Leisman is. Strong young man here at 182 pounds. And he has a 4-1 lead, but he'll let Rieger loose for the second time, now 4-2 with a 1-point escape to the Huron wrestler. Minute and 15 seconds counting down here in the second period. This match included, 4 matches to go. As Pierre and Huron battle. 2 Region 3 teams here in the ESD. A lot of good battles over the year, of course. Rieger takes a shot. Leisman flattens out, fends it off. Both on their knees now, but locked up. Head to head. Rieger underneath, and Leisman trying to swing around and can't get it done. They stayed neutral. Leisman couldn't get the takedown. If he'd have gotten that, Rieger would have had a quick escape, but no points awarded to either wrestler, and now Rieger gets aggressive here. Leisman tried to fight it off and throw him with the left arm. It didn't work. It's a takedown for Gabe Rieger, and we will have a whistle in our first blood timeout of the night. Blood coming from the nose of Garrett Leisman. 24 seconds to go, second period. Blood timeout on the mat. We've got a 4-4 match here at 182. Quick 30-second break, and we're back with more Governor Wrestling.
It's Customer Appreciation Month at Beck Motor Company of Pierre. With your purchase of a set of 4 name brand tires, you'll take home a card for 4 free oil changes, over $200 value. And as always, we offer a tire price match guarantee every day. See us online at www.beck-motors.com. Call us at 224-5912 or stop out today.
Every day, making a great deal better.
Back in Huron. I was just thinking at the beginning of this match that we haven't had a blood timeout yet, but we have now. 24 seconds to go in the second period at a 4-4 tie between senior Garrett Leisman for Pierre and senior Gabriel Rieger for the Huron Tigers. Rieger got a takedown just prior to the stoppage of wrestling because of the blood timeout, so he is in control. Leisman trying to get an escape to close out the period. Got 5 seconds left to do that, though, and it doesn't look like it's going to work out. So we'll go to the third in what is still a 4-4 tie. We've had a couple of, one in particular, evenly matched wrestling bout. Jack Van Camp defeated Chipper Schillingstad 7-5 back at 138 pounds. Neither wrestler led by more than 2 points that entire match. And where Leisman had a 4-1 lead. An escape and a takedown for Rieger made it 4-4, but now as we're underway in the third period, Leisman didn't want much to do with staying in control. He will let Rieger up, and Rieger takes the lead back at 5-4. Actually his first lead of this match. 30 seconds gone in the third, 90 seconds to wrestle, and stalemate as they're both on their feet, so they'll come back and try it again. Pierre leading the duel 39-9. We mentioned 4 matches left to go. 24 possible points for Huron is what they have left. So the Governors will win, have already clinched the duel. They'll improve to 4-0 in ESD dual wrestling and 7-0 overall on the season. Separating and coming back together, still neutral. 1 minute to wrestle. 5-4, Rieger leading Leisman. Rieger, the third-ranked wrestler in the state. We mentioned Leisman, number 7. Also talked about boys basketball. Huron was leading at the half over the Governors 45-29 at Riggs High Gym. Matches that game on River 92-7. Leisman starting to run out of time a little bit here. 40 seconds to go now. Needs to get Rieger on his back. Takes the quick shot. Rieger backs off. Leisman gets low again, pushed away. Now another shot taken. Boy, that's not going to last very long without a stalling call, but Rieger backs off and now comes ear to ear again. Garrett Leisman trying whatever he can. Got 9 seconds left, still trailing 5-4 here in the third. Another shot. There's the stalling call. Can Leisman get this done? 3, 2, 1. Not enough time to get that takedown, and Gabe Rieger will defeat Garrett Leisman 5-4 as Huron wins the match and tacks on 3 points. Updated score 39-12 on the Wagner Auto scoreboard from Wagner Auto Company in Pierre. The one place to go. They are quick to go to 195, so we'll keep it here. And for the Pierre Governors, it'll be Gage Gehring at 17-6 on the season. He is ranked third at 195 pounds. His opponent is Devin Bolster, the senior for the Tigers, 7-7. Gehring goes quickly as he gets his man up in the air and down on the mat. Takedown for Gage Gehring and a 2-0 start, just 16 seconds in, and they'll come back To the middle once again. Gage Gehring seems to be, in my opinion, just a wrestler on a mission this season. He's finished in, I believe, third place, if I recall, at the state tournament a year ago. There's one guy he was able to get by a couple of times last year, and that was Joey Otta of Sioux Falls Roosevelt, but Otta's got him at least once this year, and that Roosevelt wrestler happens to be number one ranked at 195, but I'll tell you what, keep an eye on that, because that might be something that Gehring might get the last laugh. He's getting the last laugh here, at least the next laugh against Devin Balster. He's got Balster on the mat, and 3 back points will be awarded. Balster will turn back over and be face down, but 5-0 with a minute gone by in the first period. And Gehring was trying to strong arm leverage his man over on his back once again. Now Balster on his feet, and Gehring will let him loose. So a 1-point escape for the Huron wrestler, an updated score 5-1 in the match. At 195 pounds. Glad to have you here. Friday Night Wrestling. This is Pierre Governor Wrestling and your official home of the Govs and Lady Govs. KGFX AM, the stations of the Dakota Radio Group. Takedown for Gehring. 7-1 as they're out of bounds once again with 28 seconds left. 1060 AM and 107.1 FM for KGFX. DRGnews.com. YouTube live stream up and running. Live here on this Friday night, on demand, after we upload the final product. So watch it over and over again at your leisure. 13 seconds left here in the first period. Gage Gehring dominating this match, 7-1. He has the lead, but Balster getting up on his feet again and back down to the mat hard. Boy, Balster comes down hard on his left shoulder, and he's feeling some pain. Meanwhile, Gehring will get 3 back points as the first period comes to an end. That's the second time that Gehring has lifted his opponent up and got him to the mat. But this one, a little more dangerous than the other 1 or 2 opportunities. He leads 10-1. Legal move, but hopefully Balster is able to work out a tight shoulder now. And again, came down on that left shoulder and kind of hit the left side of his face pretty quick, and Huron is going to call this match. So it'll be an injury. Nope. Yes. Yep, they're going to call this match. So an injury default victory for Gage Gehring. Devin Balster's tough, but he's got some bigger matches still to come, and Huron's going to need him later on. So 6 points for the Govs. Let's take a 30-second break. Pierre leading the duel 45-12 on KGFX.
Some banks proudly offer mortgage approvals in less than 8 minutes. 8 minutes for one of the largest purchases of your life. Doesn't leave much time for questions, does it? Think about it. Who really benefits from a speedy mortgage process? You or the lender? At First Dakota, we can't promise you an 8-minute mortgage, but we will promise you a thoughtful and transparent home buying experience. Home loans from First Dakota National Bank. Take all the time you need. Visit firstdakota.com. First Dakota is an equal opportunity lender.
Back in Huron once again with 2 matches to go. Up to the big fellas, 220 pounds now, as James Lease for the Governors, wrestling against Parker Brewer, a senior for the Tigers. Lease tried to make the first move, but Brewer fights it off and ends up with the advantage. The takedown to the Huron wrestler to strike first here. Yeah, 220 pounds. James Lease, 13-8 on the season. Parker Brewer, 15-8 for Huron. Saw a match earlier between Jack Van Camp and Chipper Schillingstad, who were very evenly matched, but we talked about the difference in height, which was in Jack Van Camp's favor. And sometimes that can work in favor, and maybe that did in that particular match. Van Camp had a 7-5 win. We're seeing a bit of a height advantage here for Parker Brewer, but James Lease gets him around the neck and gets him thrown for a 2-point reversal. Kind of got up on his legs and almost a tripod move with his head, but he got his left arm around and was able to spin his man over. So it is Lease in control with a nice move. Down to 45 seconds left here in the first period, 2-2. 2 points per wrestler. Lease working up high, trying to keep that right arm around, and boy, just as potentially dangerous as being ruled by the official. Brewer broke free, but Brewer a little frustrated that he didn't get the escape. It stays 2-2. Third quarter done, and that basketball game back at Riggs High Gym. Now Brewer gets the escape here. He'll lead 3-2, but in Pierre, the Huron Tigers lead the Governors 57-40. Huron has had a pretty good season so far, but they have been a little up and down at times just the same. Here's Brewer with the takedown. Ups his lead to 3 now, 5-2 with 13 seconds to go first period. Governors again with the duel already under their belts, 45-12. They have the lead. With this match plus one more to go, heavyweights still to come. And James Lease trailing 5-2 to Parker Brewer. Brewer actually ranked 7th and Lease 5th in the rankings this week, and Dakota Grappler. Lease has had some pretty good tournament success. Brewer still, I think, still trying to make a name for himself. Been around a couple of years, but not necessarily at the varsity level for the Tigers, at least to my recollection. But looking pretty good so far as we're underway in the second period. He's the one in control. Lease chose the down position, and James hasn't been able to get out of it yet. 30 seconds gone by in the second period. Brewer spins around. Lease still being controlled. Brewer tried to get his legs up into the air to reposition, and Lease almost got out of it, but unable to do so. Brewer still has him kept at bay. Looks back on how to handle this one. Trying to work James Lease into a cradle, but Lease has a big lower body. At 220 pounds, the shorter, stockier wrestlers, and I think Lease is one of them. He's got big, big thighs on this young man as you just look at him, even from a distance that we are. Lease up on his feet, spun back down as they'll go out of bounds near the scorer's table. And James Lease has been under the control of Parker Brewer so far here through the entire second period. 44 seconds to go. 5-2, the Huron wrestler still in front. Mentioned Lease 13-8 on the season. Gage Gehring, by the way, at 195, now 18-6. He went 3-0 over the weekend as well in that East-West dual event. Had Watertown and Brandon Valley in Pierre. They were supposed to duel the Governors on Friday night, but again, weather called that one off, and we haven't talked about it yet much. I mentioned briefly that Watertown duel is going to be Tuesday night, February 5th. So mark that one on your calendar, Tuesday, February 5th. The duel will begin at 5 p.m., and that's the night that, speaking of Pierre and Huron, that the Pierre Lady Governors are scheduled to take on Huron at Riggs High Gym. So we're going to have a wrestling and girls basketball doubleheader on the varsity floor, and they'll both be on KGFX on Tuesday night, February 5th. So keep that in mind. No scoring through the second period. It stays 5-2. Parker Brewer for the Tigers leading James Lease of the Governors. Brewer's choice. He'll go to the down position. Quickly stands up out of it. And I think this is where the taller wrestlers have the advantage in many cases. So Brewer gets a quick escape. Now Lease got to play from behind here, as he's been doing since early in the first period. Quick shot for Brewer. Lease staying rigid and fighting that off. Locked up head-to-head. Lease trying to get into a cradle here without Brewer getting taken down yet. Now James Lease looking for the takedown for the Governors, and Sean Lewis is going to vehemently disagree with the interpretation that Bud Postma had. The official says they're out of bounds. Lewis thought they were inbounds. Now Lease wasn't really ready as the whistle was blown. Brewer got a quick shot, and Lease is able to get the takedown. Brewer is on his back with 1:19 to wrestle here in the third. There's a pin and come from behind. James Lease from out of nowhere gets a win by fall over Parker Brewer in a time of 4 minutes and 46 seconds. Boy, talk about something out of nothing. That was an interesting way that match came to an end, but the Governors will tack on 6, and they lead 51-12 with 1 match to go. The wrestlers have already reported, so we'll keep it here. And this will be our final match of the night. Boy, good job by James Lease. Certainly no quit in that one. We talked about any given night with head coach Sean Lewis, and the big fellas are into a quick throw as Preston Taylor wraps up Sebastian Cardona, throws him to the mat, into a near fall already. 22 seconds gone by, and a major headlock here being put on by Preston Taylor, the sophomore, at 16-5 of the Governors. Cardona for the Tigers, a sophomore as well, 9-7. Taylor quite a bit bigger in stature, though. And there's the pin, and that'll finish off the night's events here. 41 seconds, the win by fall. The Govs get the last 2 matches of the night in wins by fall. In fact, with an injury default, they win this one going away. Your final score on the Wagner Auto scoreboard is the Govs improve to 3, make it 4-0 in ESD competition, 7-0 duels overall on the season. It's Pierre 57 and the Huron Tigers 12. Scoreboard from Wagner Auto Company and Pierre with BS just a few weeks away. They are the one place to go. Conversation with head coach Sean Lewis coming up in our post game. We've got a player of the game, outstanding performer of the night from Bauman Lumber to report on, and we'll look at upcoming action and a full recap of what happened here in the middle school in Huron tonight. As the Govs defeat Huron 57-12, we'll take a 3-minute timeout, and we're back for the Governor post game here on KGFX and DRGnews.com.
My name is Tara Fisher, and I'm an attorney at the May Adam Law Firm in Pierre. I grew up on a ranch in Montana, which taught me the value of hard work and perseverance. I put forward those values for my clients each and every day. Whether you have questions about family law, you want an estate plan, you need legal advice for a business transaction, or you need help in a criminal matter, I'm here. The May Adam Law Firm has served South Dakotans statewide since 1881. Call us at 224-8803 or visit our website, mayadam.net.
Hey, new guy. Shovel, right?
Yeah, right. And I'm not exactly new. I've seen some action.
Yeah, what's your story?
Hey, my last gig, I nearly got electrocuted, almost drowned. That guy never called 811 to see if it was safe to dig.
Our guy calls every time he digs.
It's quick and easy. Any tool can do it. Calling 811 gets your underground utility lines marked for free.
Hey, safe digging is no accident. Always call 811 before you dig.
This message brought to you by Montana Dakota Utilities, in the community to serve.
Welcome back to Global Perspectives. Our guest is, how do you say it again?
Pierre Lemaitre-Croft.
And are you enjoying your visit to America?
Oh, oui. Yesterday I saw a thing of beauty.
A lovely lady.
Sacre bleu. This was no lady. This was a Franche deep at your Arby's restaurant.
Delicious Arby's roast beef and Swiss on a sub roll with hot au jus for dipping.
And now you can get 2 for 6 francs.
We use dollars here.
Vive la différence.
Arby's. We have the means.
Wagner Auto in Pierre is the one place to go for all your automotive needs. Need a vehicle? Wagner Auto has the region's largest selection with 7 new vehicle lines. Buick, GMC, Nissan, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep, as well as over 250 quality pre-owned vehicles. Or shop online anytime at WagnerAuto.com. Need service? Our exceptional service technicians are master-level trained and certified for the best deals in Central South Dakota. See why your friends and neighbors are driving vehicles from Wagner Auto in Pierre, making friends since 1907.
If your checking account earns little or no interest and charges you ATM fees galore, isn't it time for a new checking account? At Bank West, E-Plus checking customers earn a great interest rate and never pay ATM fees. Can your current checking account do that? Switching to E-Plus is easy. Visit us online at bankwest-sd.bank or work with a friendly staff at one of our convenient locations. Bank West. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Why choose Edgewood Senior Living?
We chose Edgewood. It's a beautiful facility. My parents are taken care of very well. The staff is amazing. Their apartments are clean for them. They have their laundry done. They are a liaison between the doctor's office and their physicians. Who wouldn't choose Edgewood?
Call 494-3400 for a tour and to learn more. Edgewood Senior Living. This is home.
Back in Huron as the Pierre Governors get another dual win, another ESD dual win, and another win over a Region 3 wrestling opponent. As in the final score, 57-12, Pierre wins 11 out of 14 weight classes, and 3 of them by pin, 1 of them by injury default, 3 forfeits, a technical fall, and 1 decision in there, 2 decisions as well, as Pierre gets the victory. Sean Lewis, head coach, joining us already. Is pretty good job, Coach. You talk about being the aggressor, and even though you get some help with the open weight classes early on, you got a lot of, I think, earlier points that maybe what you talked about that wasn't necessarily the case the last couple of times you've wrestled in some duels here.
Yeah, I thought for the most part we got out and, didn't necessarily commit to somebody else's offense, but I think we made a vast effort to definitely get to our offense and get to it as quick as possible. We had a lot of first period takedowns, then kind of ride outs from there. I also thought we wrestled very opportunistic. They were giving us a few things in a few places, and we made sure and just dictate where we were going to wrestle, and didn't really wrestle in any of their strong points. So if we can start to do that and take that away from an opponent that we haven't even necessarily seen, but yet some of our kids are very familiar with, I think, that's just going to bode well for us going forward.
Yeah, speaking of boding well, I mean, you got a win over, and some kids got some key wins here over a region opponent, and where do you see that as far as seeding? Because, like you mentioned earlier, next time you see these guys is going to be in the region tournament.
Yeah, Jack's win over Chipper will pretty much, I think, guarantee him the 1. Chipper will be the 2. They'll see each other again. It's not like they won't be able to, eventually run into each other, but, it'll kind of give them a little bit different path. Hinkle getting a win over Huber, that was one that I think we definitely wanted. Snyder kind of gave one away to lean a little bit. We're never out of a match, and, I think of conditioning, and Lee Snyder's probably not the guy on my list that would be the best conditioned in our room, but he wore his opponent out. And, we were right there in the end, right where we needed to be, and, you move up to 220, and I think that was, ultimately where James factored in, is he was just in a little bit better condition than that kid, and even though the kid, was going after his offense and not really stopping, James was, realistically in a few of those positions right there, and then ultimately capitalized at the end and put him away.
That was an interesting finish to that match. It looked like you thought he had a takedown, but they were ruled out of bounds, and he comes back, and I thought Parker Brewer had a quick shot on him that James just wasn't ready for, but he fought something off, and sometimes you just got to find a way, and that's what James did in getting a big pin for him tonight.
Yeah, and I did. I really thought we had a takedown on the end, and on the edge of the mat. There just needs to be 2 points of contact, and there was his elbow and our knee. It's all it needs to be anymore. Old rules I wouldn't have even argued, but for that scenario, I thought that we definitely had a takedown, and, to the kid's credit, they both came back in, and I think the kid wanted to capitalize on that momentum and, take that momentum back. And, where James had been in the same situation twice earlier in the match, and he kind of let his hips slide away. This time he fired his hips in and ultimately crunched the kid and put him to his back, and then, he put him away.
Let's talk about technique a little bit. You talk about the hips, and that's kind of what I was thinking. I was talking in that match about the difference in stature between those two wrestlers. Parker Brewer's a taller wrestler. James Lease a little more compacted, but got good hips and big thighs and things like that. And sometimes, in this case, I think that worked into his advantage in the end.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we talked to James about. James, how do I wrestle a kid? He's so tall. The kid's probably 6'6". In wrestling charts, we don't. We go with weight classes. We don't have, height on there like they do in basketball programs or football programs. But James really asks, how do I wrestle a kid who's this tall? And he's like, well, you got to wrestle him tight. You got to wrestle him close. You got to wrestle him with no space. The more space you give him, the better off things are going to be for him. So we got to make sure that we get a hold of him. Okay, we come in, nice and low, control our positions, and make him wrestle where you want him. And, James, like you said, has that different physique, and he's got, a good set of shoulders and a good set of hips. And if he can get kids into his shoulders and hips, typically he can figure it out.
Another example of that, and it worked the other way, but Jack Van Camp's got some inches on Chipper Schillingstad, too, and I thought that maybe Jack's lankiness in that match could have been an advantage.
Jack's lankiness does, and, I don't know how many Huron people are listening on the radio, but the fact that we have a left-handed collar tie really bodes well because it doesn't let Chipper get into his normal routine in a match, and, and Chipper's a really explosive wrestler, so when he's going to wrestle in flurries, and Jack does a really good job of managing that and then also be able to scramble out of those scenarios as well. As we saw 2 or 3 that, had not go out of bounds or time off the clock or anything. I mean, who knows, how they could have ended. Somebody might have ended up on their back.
And this thing started out with a pretty good match right off the bat at 113, but Kaylor Heineman, he looked pretty good tonight, and I know it's not the marquee matchup of the evening, but as Kaylor's trying to get back into some varsity, let's call it respectability, I think I'm guessing he probably impressed tonight.
Yeah, Kaylor's just got a few positional things to learn. Sometimes his hips and his head are in 2 totally different time zones, and so when he gets both of those on the same page, I mean, he can put away a lot of people. One thing that's kind of went away from him is he's been a little bit too respectful of his opponents, and he hasn't come out with that nasty fire. And I think we saw a little bit of the flip switch, with him just saying, what, I'm done being nice, and technical and everything, and I'm going to go out and kind of beat you up a little bit. And that's, what he started to revert to, later in that match.
Good matches, technically speaking, I think, from Daniel Tafoya, who looked good tonight. Of course, McGuire did his thing and just stayed after it, and he wasn't done scoring until the last second of that match.
Yeah, McGuire, like I said, we've got sickness rolling through our team, and he didn't feel very good after weigh-ins. I think he threw up in the locker room a little bit, and so he's, he told me he wasn't really under the weather, or, up to par. He was a little under the weather, and so we told him just go out there and score a bunch of points, and then, we can figure it out from there. We can be smart in situations. We don't have to go and, light the world afire and try pinning everybody or teching or majoring everybody. We can just go out and score points, get in our positions, and, ultimately just keep the match at hand.
Last match to talk about, 82 with Leisman and Rieger, and that one obviously could have gone either way, but Rieger gets the last laugh, and Garrett just couldn't quite. I mean, he had the takedown once, but he couldn't quite get out of the control at one point. I think that's just a match that he's going to want back later on in the season.
No, he wanted it back right away. He knew. He pretty much had 2 takedowns throughout the match that he didn't necessarily just finish where he easily could have, and he could have had the takedown. And not that was a ref's call or anything else. We just didn't finish the position, and we were right there twice. And then ultimately he got a little anxious on that last one, trying to jump the position, and that's what gave up the takedown with a no-score return in the second. And then third, I thought we did a really good job of pushing the pace, but we were not going to get a stall call out of that ref, and I thought we were working for it. I thought we were pretty close to having it, and couldn't get it, and ultimately then you're shooting from afar if they're backing like that. So Leisman will learn from it. He'll get better. He'll go after that kid, and we'll definitely be in contention next time.
Yeah, I finally got that warning with about 10 seconds left, not a lot of time to do anything else. All right, so you got an overnight trip. You're heading to Brookings tonight. You wrestled at 9 o'clock tomorrow, and and we've talked over the years about how this Brookings tournament and the teams that are coming there is a pretty good representation, at least in this case with Pierre and, with Rapid City Central aside, but you've almost got a really good representation of teams that you need to see their best from the eastern half of the state.
Yeah, we just really don't see that whole interstate corridor down there, enough, and I don't know what, scheduling, why. We travel everywhere, and it just seems like they don't necessarily, want to travel more than 45 minutes away from that interstate. I guess it just must be too far. I don't know if the roads are just one way or what, but, we make it home just fine. But, yeah, we need to see those teams. We need to see the T's, the Vermilions, the West Centrals, the
Lennox,
the
Madison,
Lennox,
Del Rapids. Lennox especially has some really good kids.
Yeah,
don't
then
they?
you finally get to throw, some of the Sioux Falls schools in there as well. It's crazy to think, we've seen the Sioux Falls schools once. And, for us to continue and try and see everybody in the state before the state tournament, it's definitely a tournament that we have to attend.
Speaking of Sioux Falls schools, last comment here, and then we'll let you go, but I was talking in the Gage Gehring match tonight about how he's kind of building this rivalry with Joey Otta from Sioux Falls Roosevelt, and maybe that's one of the matches you'll be looking forward to possibly seeing this weekend.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that match. They had an overtime absolute barn burner, out at Rapid Invite earlier this year amongst the 3 that we had last year. The only one that didn't go our way was the one at State. They do kind of have a good rivalry, but, Gage can't look forward at all. He's got to wrestle his match by match, and, ultimately he's going to end up with a kid in the semifinals if we take care of business, and the Gavin Gilbranson from Harrisburg kid who's, very good in his own right. And so we've, got to not take any match for granted one by one, and we got to figure that puzzle out before we can even think about Otta.
All right, that's a good way to finish there, Coach. Good job tonight in a 57-12 win. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you a couple of weeks from now.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, you bet. Sean Lewis, the head coach of the Governors, off of a 57-12 victory, and we've got the full recap still to come. Let's take another 3-minute timeout, and we're back with more of the postgame and a player of the game still to announce, as well as our Governor postgame continues on KGFX.
The new year is a time for a start to new beginnings. Why not start your new year off right by getting a low-interest auto loan from Oahe Federal Credit Union? Get a new or used vehicle with rates starting at 3.19% APR. Rates vary depending on year and term of vehicle that you would like to purchase. Stop in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre and see what Julia or Jameson can do for you.
People helping people. Oahe Federal Credit Union.
Top of the morning, TMA. This is John. May I help you?
At TMA, top-notch service begins the moment you call for an appointment. John at TMA believes in customer service and quality work. When you need tires repaired or replaced, TMA is the place to go. Just remember, if it's round, rubber, and rolls, it's at TMA. You can count on TMA for all of your automotive needs, from tires to mufflers to all automotive repairs. Call TMA at 224-6167, and your service begins with...
Top of the morning, TMA. This is John. May I help you?
Hi, I am Slade Weller, and I am Pitts Corporation's local branch manager. Pitts Corporation is a commercial architecture, construction management, and construction company serving South Dakota for over 65 years. I am a local peer and have over 20 years of construction experience. With architects, estimators, project managers, superintendents, and a quality group of trade professionals on staff, Pitts Corporation is ideally set up to assist you with your future building needs. Please call 223-2440 or stop by our office on Airport Road to set up your initial free consultation.
This Governor Sports Moment is being brought to you by the independent insurance team at Fisher Rounds and Associates of Pierre. Zach Hansen and Lane Severin were members of 4 Pierre Governor basketball teams, and they played in more varsity games than any other Governor player in history. They capped off their careers by leading Pierre to its 4th state basketball championship in 2013 and left Pierre as the leading and second leading scorers and rebounders in school history. Zach Hansen and Lane Severin, 2 of Pierre's finest. This Governor Sports Moment has been brought to you by Fisher Rounds and Associates of Pierre.
Have you seen all the changes at Lynn's Dakota Mart in Pierre? Yeah, they've done a lot. The entire store is remodeled. Every department from grocery to sporting goods is fresh and updated and stocked with the best quality at great value. They even have a Caribou coffee station. This week, they're featuring Bird's Eye assorted steamed fresh vegetables, 10 to 10.8 ounces, only 99 cents each. Lynn's Dakota Mart, your hometown neighborhood market.
Some banks proudly offer mortgage approvals in less than 8 minutes. 8 minutes for one of the largest purchases of your life. Doesn't leave much time for questions, does it? Think about it. Who really benefits from a speedy mortgage process? You or the lender? At First Dakota, we can't promise you an 8-minute mortgage, but we will promise you a thoughtful and transparent home buying experience. Home loans from First Dakota National Bank. Take all the time you need. Visit firstdakota.com. First Dakota is an equal opportunity lender.
Back with more here in the post game as the Governors defeat Huron tonight 57-12. Brian Oakland play-by-play and Jeff Duncan back in studio. Here's how it all went down starting at 106. Huron had the first of 3 open weight classes at 106, so Nate Williams in place of the ill Blake Judson tonight gets a victory by forfeit. Govs lead 6-0. Kaylor Heinman with a 5-minute 41-second win by fall at 113 over Will Radke puts the Govs up 12-0, and then Daniel Tafoya looks good in a 14-2 major decision victory over Cole Oshner for Huron, and the Govs were up 16-0. Couple of open weight classes at 126. 6, one of them because Jaleel Jenkins-Harris of Huron fell ill in school today. One was unable to wrestle. Huron opened at 26-32, wins by forfeit for Jay Spench Brescher and Tyson Johnson of the Governors put the Govs up 28-0. And then at 138, the marquee matchup of the night, Jack Van Camp with 15 seconds left in the match gets the final say and a takedown to get a 7-5 victory tonight. Van Camp defeating Chipper Schillingstad, and that puts Pierre up 31-0. Then at 145, Cade Hinkle in a match I thought would be much closer than it was. Gets a technical fall from Danon Huber, 17-2 in that one, and just finished it off just as the final seconds ticked away. I now realize that I was just talking to the coach about McGuire Raske getting a technical fall, but it was Cade Hinkle as I looked at the wrong match, and apologize for that. But great job, Cade Hinkle, tonight. 5 points to the cause, made it 36-0. Huron at 152, the 8th weight class of the night, finally gets their first win of the night as Tyson Lean decisions Lee Snyder 8-1. That put Huron on the board at 36-3. And then the junior Tajay Jenkins-Harris overmatched Jarrett Clark of the Governors and gets a win by fall in 3 minutes and 17 seconds. That pulled Huron within 36-9. 170, though, McGuire Raske gets the Govs back on track. A decision at 10-3, defeating Matthew Kotz to make the score 39-9. Huron wins their third and final match of the night at 182. A 5-4 decision over Garrett Leisman, and that puts Huron at 12, but the Governors scored 6 the rest of the way with an injury default victory for Gage Gehring over Devin Balster. And it was 45-12, and then wins by fall, and especially for James Lease coming from behind and getting a reversal and a stick of Parker Brewer, 4 minutes and 46 seconds, and then a first period 41-second win by fall and a good headlock from Preston Taylor to defeat Sebastian Cardona at 285, and your final score 57-12. I think, and by my count, Huron, I believe, is 0-6 in ESD duels this year, but having some open weight classes doesn't obviously help that situation. But Huron will be at the Aberdeen Invitational tomorrow. That starts at 9:30. They're at Watertown for a duel next Thursday, and then they'll host their own Invitational the following weekend, the final weekend of the regular season, as that'll be on February 9th. But Huron will also host the Region 3A tournament on Saturday, February 16th, and we'll have coverage here on KGFX. Governors go to Brookings tomorrow, the Les Telustos Invitational, 9 o'clock start for that, and then next weekend, Pierre will go to Yankton. They'll duel the Bucks, which was regularly scheduled, but then that duel that they still have to do with Brandon Valley, which was supposed to be this past Friday at Riggs High Gym. Brandon Valley's going to head down to Yankton, square up with the Bucks, and that'll be, with the Governors in Yankton at 6 o'clock. So that doubleheader that the Govs wanted last week is going to be in Yankton next week, but just with one different team. And then the Yankton Invite will be next Saturday. The Govs will finish with a Thursday night, February 7th duel at Harrisburg to close out their regular season, and then leading into the February 16th Region 3A tournament. I should say February 5th, we mentioned Watertown comes to Pierre. That could be the ESD championship on the line there, as that'll be at 5 o'clock, followed by Pierre Lady Governor basketball. But again, that'll be Tuesday, February 5th, so keep that in mind, and that'll be our last wrestling duel coverage here on KGFX. Other things that are going on, Pierre Lady Governor basketball will be on River 92.7 tomorrow. I'll have the call of that one from down in Yankton. 3 o'clock tip-off, followed by the Govs and Yankton tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Governors we're hosting Huron this evening, and the final in that one has just been given to us. Huron defeats Pierre 70-48. The Govs fall to 4-6 now halfway through the season. So tomorrow again on River 92.7, a girls and boys doubleheader, but at different times. The girls at 3, the boys at 7. The girls at Yankton, the Governors hosting Yankton at Riggs. Next week, the Lady Govs will be here on KGFX from Riggs High Gym Tuesday night hosting Mitchell, Thursday night at Sioux Falls, Washington, and then Saturday against Brandon Valley with a Potter County Sully Buttes Friday night doubleheader put in between. So we've got a lot of basketball coming up next week here on 1060 KGFX. Got one order of business to take care of. It's the naming of tonight's player of the game, the outstanding performer. That's sponsored by Bauman Lumber in Fort Pierre, and we'll tell you who tonight's player of the game will be after this. This is Governor Wrestling.
When you need building supplies, there's no need to go anywhere except to Bauman Lumber in Fort Pierre. Bauman Lumber is locally owned and offers quality products, expert advice, free estimates, and free local delivery for large or small projects. Whether it's a home improvement project, remodel job, or all new construction, they even welcome special orders. Quality building materials at affordable prices for residential or commercial projects can be found at Bauman Lumber, 1223 Sale Barn Road in Fort Pierre, or call 223-9762.
Player of the game announcement coming up, but don't forget, on your way to or from the games or wherever you happen to be going, this winter snow means slow. Please slow down and drive for the conditions. That's a major reminder from the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety. And now to our Bauman Lumber player of the game. Pats on the back for those who win by fall tonight. Preston Taylor, James Lease, and come from behind fashion, and Kaylor Heinman as well. Nice technical fall and a great match for Cade Hinkle tonight. But the marquee matchup comes up in Pierre's favor as Jack Van Camp gets a 7-5 decision over Chipper Schillingstad and kind of locks down the number one seed probably in the Region 3A tournament. And a good job by Jack Van Camp, tonight's Bauman Lumber player of the game. We'll get him a T-shirt noting his accomplishments from Bauman Lumber and KGF Exports. The Govs 4-0 in the ESD, 7-0 overall tonight as they defeat the Huron Tigers. Join us again tomorrow on River 92.7 for Lady Gov basketball. Tuesday night for Lady Govs against Mitchell here on KGFX as well. As we wish you a great evening. Thanks to Jeff Duncan for running the show tonight, and to our sponsors, including the Pierre Sports Marketing sponsors who sponsor Governor Wrestling, and your official home of the Govs and Lady Govs. Tonight's game sponsored by Bank West, by Brittany Shufflebine Agency, LLC, by Beck Motors, Avera Medical Group, the Dairy Queen, and Overhead Door, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre. Tonight's game also brought to you in part by the Pitts Corporation, Fisher Rounds and Associates, Lynn's Dakota Mart, First Dakota National Bank, May Adam, Montana Dakota Utilities, Arby's Restaurant and the Ramkota Hotel and Conference Center, also by Edgewood Senior Living, Owyhee Federal Credit Union, Gators Pizza, Pasta and Subs, TMA, and Peer Care and Rehabilitation Center. And our game brought to you within the broadcast by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, the Boyd Conzemus Agency, Teton River Traders Gun Shop, the South Dakota Attorney General's Office, Lynn's Dakota Mart, CHS Midwest Cooperatives, Bauman Lumber, and Wagner Auto in Pierre. Your one place to go, your final Wagner Auto scoreboard. The Governors over Huron tonight, 57-12, and I cut myself off early. But for those on the webcast,